Hey, how you doing? So, I've been asked a ton of questions about the cost of making the teepee and everything that's been involved in it as far as financial goes. And forgive me, I pretty much got to wear the glasses because if I don't, I can't read nothing. Um, so I'm not going to make a lot of people happy, and I'm not going to make some people happy. People that I care very much for. Um, but anyways, so here we go. The cost of the TP itself, not including the trailer. So the heavy canvas, which is the shell of the TP, costs roughly around 450. The paint for the TP roughly costs about 340. The the light canvas, which is the inner wall and the floor, costs about 150. The dowels cost about 19. The other dowels cost 33. The thread that I went through cost about 20 until my friend Vicky helped me out. Thank you so much, Vicky, for saving me. Um, the cordage, so the 550 cord cost about $15. The braided cord cost $15. The large braided cord, which is what holds the TP poles together, that's the thing you see me wrapping the TP with once the poles are all up. That costs $65. The stain roughly cost 35, and the undercoating for the floor cost about 150. And there was another stain involved that cost about 65. I didn't add that to this, um, and that was the boiled linseed oil and turpentine. So altogether, that run, what did I say, 65? So 7, 8 is 5, 3, so 1357 for the teepee, just for the materials for the teepee, and then the cost for the trailer, roughly $200 for the trailer, which was just a shell. Um, the parts and material for the all the wood that went into building the framework for the trailer um, was $650. Thank you very much, Carl, for helping me out with getting that going. Um, Without you, I probably wouldn't have been able to get anywhere. The lights cost 60, the wiring 50, the straps that I have for the TP and the material that are carried on the trailer were 30, and the fenders, um, well, the fenders I have here for 90, but that's not true. They were 190, so I got to add 100 to that. So, and the paint for the trailer, roughly $28. Wasn't a lot. I had it already. So, 1208 for the trailer, and the total cost of the trailer and the TP was 2565, so roughly about 2565. I'm gonna go upwards for miss things that I might have missed, and just say the whole thing was $2600, and that's for the TP and the trailer. Now, the things I didn't have to pay for was the thread. Again, thank you so much, Vicky. The poles. Uh, Thank you, John and Scott. Scott for letting me harvest the poles on your land. John for helping me drag them up to where they needed to be so I could strip them and clean them. And thank you very much for that, John. It was very much appreciated. Uh, so um, some people will say, well, is it worth it? And is it worth all the costs? And you spent more on that than you would have, 10 tents if you had bought 10 tents. And probably could have bought quite a bit more than 10 tents with all of that because I didn't spend it all at the same time. And uh, but yeah, it was expensive, and I did feel the burden of it. Was it worth it? Uh, the very first day that I set the TP up, and my daughter got to see it, it was extremely worth every dollar I spent, every minute I spent doing it. When I saw her face light up when she saw that TP canvas go up, and she was looking at it going into place, and she helped me with the lacing pins, handing me up the lacing pins on the ladder so I could lace everything together. And she was so excited. And when she went inside it for the first time when it was up, and she was just, oh my God, Daddy, it's so big. It was worth it. And what's even more worth it is knowing that she is going to have this TP long after I'm gone. And that my grandchildren might be able to benefit from the use of this TP and the things that have gone into it, the story that is behind it. And yeah, I mean, yes, I think that it is all going to be worth it. I truly feel that building the teepee and doing it by hand and doing it the old way, sewing it, um, painting it, and knowing that this teepee is going to last 30 years, maybe 35 years if it's taken care of properly, maybe even longer. And knowing that it's going to last that long, and maybe my grandchildren may be able to go camping in the same thing that their grandfather built when they get older, um, will be a a blessing. Even though I'm not here, I'll either be able to look up on them and see them camping, or look down on them and see them camping, depending on which direction I go. Um, but yeah, it was all worth it. So to the people that I have I owe money to and I haven't been able to pay you back, and you're going to say, well, you could have paid me with this, and you're right, I could have, and I'm sorry that there may be contention in there. You are always in my mind, so please don't think you aren't. But um, this was a promise that I made my daughter 4 years ago, um, after one of our tent poles broke on our tent. And when she asked me, what's going to happen, I said, I'll have to buy a new tent. And she said, well, can we have a teepee? And I said, yeah, I don't see why not, without thinking. Next time, think. Um, but it was worth it. And, seeing how happy she was and how excited we were when we're on our way home from my friend Robin's house. And I was asking her what her favorite parts were, and her favorite parts were waking up in the morning and having breakfast sitting on the floor in the teepee, and hearing her say that I liked sitting on the floor Indian style, not crisscross apple jacks or however the hell they say it now in school. Um, being able for her to say it the way it should be, Indian style. We sat on the floor Indian style, and we had breakfast, and there's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. So yeah, we had breakfast in the teepee, and she was excited. She said that was one of her favorite things. And sleeping in a teepee, she loved it, and that's all that mattered to me. That's really the top notch thing in my life. That these things that she was able to do and able to see made all the difference. So, anyways, yeah, the cost of the teepee is there, and that doesn't include all the time. And God, please don't ask me to try to calculate how many hours I have invested in building the teepee, or how much I think my labor is worth. I don't know what's my labor worth. You know, I mean, is it worth $20 an hour? Is it worth $50 an hour? I mean, you know, uh, is it worth $5 an hour? I mean, I've got probably a good solid 3 months invested in, maybe 4 months invested in sewing and cutting and painting and doing all the work on the TP. And some days I worked all day, and there's a couple of days that I didn't work at all, or some days I worked like a couple of hours. Um, all told, I couldn't. There's no way I could go back and tell you in time and tell you how many hours that I have invested in it. I know it's more than 10, and I'm willing to bet you it's more than a couple of hundred. So what's my time worth? If it's $10 an hour, you know you're gonna pay me $1,000 labor. You know, for $10 an hour? What about $50 an hour? You know, what's it worth? What's it worth in labor? This was a labor of love, so uh, I have no idea. Well, there's no way for me to be able to tell you what the value of this was, and you know, all I can tell you is that I love doing it, and I love the look on my daughter's face, and that was worth every single dime that I put into this. Every minute that I put into it, every pinprick of the needle going into my finger when I was, doing the hem work. Yeah, it was all worth it. So, anyways, there you have the numbers, and there'll be another video coming out shortly of our first weekend up at our friend's house, and it won't be, it'll be like this, probably 10, 15 minutes long. I don't think it'll be longer than 10, 15 minutes, but it'll be a little bit. So, yeah, wait, talk to you guys later. Ciao, and yeah, toodles.